there. This is Stephenson, and I'm known as Watercolor Artiste on social media circles. And I'm the artist known as midlifeartist.com. And welcome to my weekly Wednesday night live stream where I hold myself accountable to keep painting on a week to week basis. If I don't get to paint any other day, Wednesday is the day I do. Lately, I've been painting a lot, so I'm pretty happy to say that I've got a lot going on. I'm painting a lot. I'm not struggling for the next painting. In fact, I started another one last night. Uh, and I might give you a glimpse of the beginnings of that one. It's a smaller one than what I've been working on. Yeah, so I've got officially 3 works, canvas paintings in progress, and you can only work on one at a time. I mean, you could probably work on two if you're ambidextrous and you can separate your brain and try to paint on 2 different canvases, but who really does that? Certainly not me. I'm hoping that this week my mic is working okay. I know that my husband usually joins in the chat over on Rumble, and he lets me know if my mic is operating or my audio is operating correctly. So I hope that that is the case. Last week I had technical difficulties. I don't know why, but in any case, welcome. So if you're a regular here, good to see you coming back. Um, and if you're new, um, then welcome. And if you're not interested in chatting, that's okay. You can lurk in the background. I've been known to be a lurker on other people's live streams as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you don't become a stalker. We're good. Hey, Frosty. Hello. Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know the audio was good. I'm relieved. Thank you very much. So yeah, I've got a lot of paintings going on. I am really happy to say that. I'm very proud to say that. And in fact, as we had passed from January into February, I'm coming up on deadlines to apply for certain events already that actually take place in May, but have deadlines at the end of February and early March. And so I'm trying to map out on my calendar what events that I've traditionally participated in versus ones that I want to participate in that's new for me. One of my goals for 2026 is to participate in at least 2 tent events. And one of them I'm going to be applying in this next week. I've got the official application here. It's a 2-stepper where you apply by snail mail. My light kind of went off. I don't understand that. Seems like it's a little darker now. I don't know what that's all about. Huh. Maybe I put that up a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I've got the application. This one's not as stringent with its application process. I don't know why. I don't know why my light seems to be a little dimmer. Go figure. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about my light. I'm just not going to worry about it. So anyway, this one is called the 11th Annual Dahlonega Arts and Wine Festival in Dahlonega, Georgia. I think that's about an hour and a half drive from me, and it's a 2-day event, so I would have to stay there. For the 2-day event, I wouldn't want to be trying to drive back and forth an hour and a half for those 2 days with a tent and all my artwork up in it and be that far away. So it will have some expense to it. Hey, honey, my youngest son joined the chat. Thank you for joining. I love it. Okay. You don't have to chat. You can lurk and observe and draw at your desk. That's awesome. My son just got himself a new desk for drawing. Congratulations. He got that this week, and he's been taking up drawing, and he is a fan of the anime genre. So he's practicing a lot of that, and he's doing a really good job. If you didn't catch it, he was here Christmas Eve for my live stream on Christmas Eve and joined me, and we drew together. So if you want to know who he is, go check that out on one of my older live streams. But yeah, I am definitely applying to the Dahlonega one. It's a juried process, so there's no guarantee that I'll get in. But if I do, um, the only thing I have to make sure I do, besides have money to stay there and all that jazz, is get a white, cream, or tan canopy top to my tent. The tent I have, my pop up tent, is gray, very neutral gray, but it's not white, it's not cream, and it's not tan. And they made sure to bold, underline that portion of the application, so they mean business. So I have sent an email to the tent manufacturer of my pop-up tent asking if they've got a white replacement tent canopy for my tent, because my tent works. I just got the wrong color. And I'd rather not spend money on a brand new tent when I've got a tent. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make sure I don't spend money where I don't have to. Hello, Happy Feet. Oh, hi, Lisa. Welcome. I'm just explaining my news and events before I get underway with painting. Um, so yeah, I'm going to be applying to the Dahlonega Arts and Wines Festival for 2026. That takes place on May 16th through 17th, and the deadline to apply is by March 6th. But you have to send in your application, but email your photographs of your artwork that are going to be used to determine if you're going to be able to participate. So I've got a twofold process. That's one. I think I can get into this one. I think, and if I have to buy another tent, I'll buy another tent because a lot of the other festivals require white as well. So if I buy another tent because I can't get a replacement canopy, at least I'll have a white tent. And if at some point my husband decides to join me on any of these arts festivals and we need a double space, we'll have the extra tent. But then again, it's still a gray canopy. So we'll see. The other one I'm thinking about trying is for the 50th annual Spring Arts in the Park up in Blue Ridge, Georgia. The application deadline for this one is the end of this month, and it takes place on May 23rd to 24th. So this one's a little bit more stringent. It's got an online process as well, and it's juried as well. Um, so we'll see. I don't know. I'm a little scared of this one, to tell you the truth, because it is more stringent. It's also a 2 day. It's also a little far away, so I'd have to stay there, so it would incur expense as well. But it's a big event for arts. So it could potentially help put me in front of people who appreciate art and may appreciate my art. Because what I've been doing up until now hasn't really been working. Uh, so those are the two events I'm going to try to participate in. The Dahlonega is a definite, I'm going to apply for that one. The Blue Ridge one, like I said, I'm a little intimidated, a little scared. Uh, but we'll see how that goes. In addition, I typically will also be in a couple art shows, like the Harris Arts Center in Calhoun, Georgia, has their regional art show that usually runs mid-May to the end of June. And then the Creative Arts Guild in Dalton, Georgia, has their Arts Fest, which is a big weekend event that kicks off their art exhibit that runs mid-September through the end of October. So, um, so yeah. The other thing is there's two online events that I'm considering as well. So there's a lot going on. This is my little cheat sheet, and this is stuff I've got to map out on my calendar. But there's a gallery in Charlotte, North Carolina called Shane Gallery, and they have an invitational for a art show that they put on from July 24th through August 5th. And their jury process doesn't cost anything, but it's very specific. Um, but it's one of the more easier application process. And you email them uh, several of your artworks that best represent your style and your artistic skill and things like that. That's due by March 8th. And that would be one that would be a show for a short stint in Charlotte, North Carolina. I do have a friend that lives in Charlotte, so if I get into that one, hopefully she would open her doors to me to stay to help me save some money. I'm sure she will. I've stayed with her before for a conference that was not art related up in Charlotte. The other thing is that the Artist Network Online has an online kind of competition that has a deadline for tomorrow. So I'm going to put that in, and it's a nominal thing. They put your name out there, your artwork out there in their publication. It's a publication, as well as give you a free subscription to their publication, which would be nice. It's nice to have something like that. So I've got a lot on the docket. I've got a lot to map out on the calendar. I've got applications to fill out this next week if I'm going to be on time. I got to make sure I've got pictures. I'd like to finish my Amazon in time to submit that. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, enough of that. I'm going to work tonight on my second newest because, like I said, I started another canvas last night, but I'm not working on it tonight because it's got to dry. But this is the one I started previous to that, and it's called Resilient, and it is the cover image for my sister-in-law's novel that she's writing called Resilient. And so we came up with the concept idea, and I'm painting it for her. Um, and if you're interested in what her novel is about, based on what my painting looks like, she is in the chat, and I'll let her talk about her novel because I'm not letting anything go about that one. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some paint laid down. I got an art shipment in, so I got some Fabriano drawing paper for pastels that I'm going to try, but that's not high on the list to work on because I'm trying to do a huge body of work for these tent events for the time being. I also got some Pen Touch permanent paint markers that you can use to draw on, and it's archival quality ink. I've never used these. I don't know if I will. Not on this painting anyway. And then I got some more varnish. I usually use this varnish. It's archival, UV archival gloss for my paintings, but I also got the Gambar gloss. Um, I've not used this before, but it seems like it comes highly recommended. So I got some of that as well. So yes, I got a little bit of a package in the mail today, and I was excited to share. All right, so I need paintbrushes. Let's see, I need paintbrushes. I gotta get my filberts out because I love my filberts. Filberts are the best. And when I mean the best, they are the best. You can disagree with me all you want, but they are the best. So I actually got a small flat one too. I like the flat because it gives me a nice line. And then I do have some pointed ones as well, but I'll pull those out when I need them. I also need to put out some more colors. Let me get palette cam going here. Hopefully, okay, it's still working. Woohoo! Palette cam is working. So yeah, this is my image. It is 30-inch by 30-inch canvas, and her novel is called Resilient. And obviously, these are the main characters. And if you want to know more about it, author Lisa Stephenson is in the Rumble chat, and you can ask questions of her while I, paint on this. Now, this is obviously different from my Amazon painting. If you've been following along, my Amazon painting is a totally different subject matter. It's a fantasy image, but it's also in the blues and greens, cool tones. This is definitely a flip side of that. It's more warm, obviously twilight or sunset going on behind the main characters here. So let's see here. I'm gonna get my white down. I got some already on my palette, but I always need more. I tend to use it. I got the big tube of white, titanium white. I need to get some reds going. Let's see here. Let's see, yellows. I need to get, the closer you get to the viewer of the painting, the warmer you should get in terms of depth perception. So I'm going to pull, some warmer colors out, as well as some of my coolers for the darks. I don't ever really use black unless I absolutely need the darkest dark and I can't quite get there with mixing. I'm looking for, oh, there's my burnt umber. I'm going to use my Master's Touch burnt umber because it's not as matte as my Blue Ridge. My Blue Ridge brand has more of a matte finish, and I want more of a gloss. It's Queen Magenta, Permanent Crimson, Yellow Ochre. Okay, I think I got my colors that I'm going to place on my. I also need to get my Galkid. My Galkid is my medium. It's a fast drying medium. It helps get things drying faster. I've got Hansa Yellow already out, so I don't need that one. I'm going to put some yellow medium down, although that is not much different. But yeah, I was working on the buildings on this side. I'm going to try to work more on the buildings on this side. I'll have to adjust my camera, I think, so you guys can see that. I've been using the same palette for both paintings. I don't know how it is that this cadmium red light has paint on the cap. I always seem to get paint on the cap. I think it's got a looser, it's got more oil in it, so it comes out looser. And I got it all over my hands. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's see. And then Permanent Crimson. Point of No Return. Bridget Fonda. Yeah. Well, that I could see Bridget Fonda making this character work if it were made into a movie. I started off this painting with a background base of quinacridone magenta, and let me tell you, it was wild how bright it came out. Uh, and I was just doing that as a background, but man, by the time I was done putting it down and then doing the negative reduction drawing technique, I'm like, I have got to get other colors down because it was, you had to put on like shades to look at it. I'm like, oh my gosh. So when you see the progress photos and video that I make of this, ultimately, I'll include those, embarrassingly so. But yeah, uh, I'm laying down some ultramarine blue. I put down some Prussian blue. I'm a fan of Prussian blue. It's a nice dark blue. I also have Payne's Gray, which is as close to black as you'll probably see me get on a raw color on the palette. You want the Blue Ridge oils? The Blue Ridge oils, you can buy them from him directly. He makes them there out of Asheville, North Carolina. His website on the back of his tube of paint says blueridgeoilpaint.com. So if you're looking to get some, he's got sets, and then I think he sells them as well individually. I haven't looked at it since actually before Helene, the hurricane came through and essentially destroyed Asheville. But but yeah, he is also those are the oil paints that Andrew Tischler uses on his landscapes. And that's who I learned about these from, was Andrew Tischler on YouTube. And if you're not familiar with Andrew Tischler, he is a landscape artist on YouTube. He also has, the standard social media presence, on Facebook and Instagram and elsewhere. But he is amazing. He's hyper realistic. So if you're a fan of the hyper realism, you're gonna love his work. And his landscapes. He's out of either New Zealand or Australia, over on that continent. Um, and so yeah, I'm gonna get some color here going. That's gonna go into these buildings on this side here. I'm gonna get these going. Warm it up a little bit. And then gray it down so it's not so full of chroma. Add a little bit of burnt umber to this, but I keep it as a warm red, medium tone. I have to get my gal kid going. And what I'll do is, hey Zin, how are you? Welcome, welcome. How are you this fine Wednesday evening, Zin? Have you? I'm going to ask you again and again. Hopefully that it doesn't scare you off. But have you picked up another drawing to do or a painting? I know last week you were struggling with being motivated for something, so I was just wondering if you were able to find your artistic mojo or not. But yeah, I was just mentioning at the beginning of the videos in that of all the events I'm going to try to do starting in May, but even though they're in May, the application process is the end of this month. So I've been looking at that. So I've got a glare on this. So if I lean in, it's because I'm trying to get the glare off. But yeah, I'm going to get these buildings locked in. This building here is least developed so far, but I'm building up. I started off with a big brush, the big brush that did the backgrounds and stuff. I'm now at a smaller brush, and it's a filbert. Filberts are my favorite shape of brush. I feel like, yeah, this is a warmer red. I want the warmer red because I want it to pull forward. And then I also do I have a hair or something in this? Do, or a brush or something. I'm gonna have to get that off. I don't know what that is. I'll have to figure that out. Can't have boogers on your canvas. No boogers. Uh, that just doesn't go over well. So yeah, I'm gonna get this in. Like I said, I want this to come forward a little bit. I'm gonna stand up, so this is actually much darker than it's representing, but I'm going to bring in the darks. I'm going to push in the darks. I'm doing a medium tone here, and then I'm going to pull out the lights. So if you've just joined, my youngest son is also in the background watching. He just got himself a new art desk. Well, he didn't have an art desk, so it's new because he didn't have one before. And so he is now using that to draw. And he's joined in, although he's not chatting much because he's busy drawing, which is great because, if you're doing artwork too, while I'm doing artwork, I think that's awesome, no matter who you are. So I'm just getting some of this warm red down because the warm colors will pull forward. The cool colors will push back, and there's a lot of warmth to this by virtue of just the color, the chroma. But I want to make sure this is nice and dark already. I don't know if I'm going to paint over that. I think I'm going to leave that alone. Although I think I'm going to get some red in the, I don't know if you can see that. The only thing about this painting that I worry about trying to show it anywhere is that the character, even though it's based on a book character, is got the firearm. And of course, with the sensitivity across different social media platforms and who knows who else, I don't know if that will disqualify me from showing this or not. I have no idea. So I guess I'm just going to have to risk it and see what happens. All right, so I've got some nice bright red there. You can see that red. And now I'm going to bring in some dark. I'm going to push in some darks and then pull out some lights from it. So I'm adding more burnt umber to my red to get it a little darker, a little less chroma of the red, keeping the temperature of the color but darkening it. So it still has a red tinge to it, but it's definitely darker. Yeah, I know you like to do Zen. I know that you like to do, you know, ocean type topics, sea life, octopus, fish, and you do an awesome, awesome job with those. Um, he, uh, he, he does great job with those, the underwater theme, um, and he gets nice, vibrant colors. It's just amazing, his work. I'm gonna get a different brush. I'm gonna start with I'm gonna now transition to a smaller filbert for this. And if I have to, I will bring in some of that. I don't really want to bring in Payne's Gray because that's a cooler um, color, and I'm trying to keep it warm. But I do want to get the dark in here. Now this is a more shadowy area of the concept image that I developed for this. So I am bringing some darks in for that. I did get, she's wearing a sequin top, and I've already got the hint of that just in the touch of white on the blue here. And when I move palette cam to show up close like I typically do, I'll show you what it looks like. But just looking at it from a distance, you get the idea that it's sequin. And I like that that's simple, that I achieved that. Of course, it's going to be developed much better So it's not just a concept, but developed into a sequin top. Art request, seahorse exploring an old shipwreck. There you go. My son just suggested something for you, Art of Zen. A seahorse. Now, I think you've done a seahorse before, but I think that'd be cool if you had a shipwreck. I think that would be a great um, setting compositionally. Um, I think so. Where can people see your artworks in? You're on Rumble too, right? You're on I think I'm subscribed to you as well. He's on Rumble. He's got some videos. If you want to see his work, his is on his channel. He does some videos and he's got some really great stuff. You work primarily, you started off in colored pencil, right? Art of Zen, I think you started off in colored pencil, and then you have transitioned to acrylic, I think, if I remember correctly from one of your interviews. Now up here is pretty dark too. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to add a little bit of Payne's Gray, but not too much so it doesn't. If I can't, well, if I push this down, that's going to get in front of the camera here. So up here is the eave of the building. I'll get some of the medium, art medium on here, fast drying medium. So this part of the building is an eave, it's dark. And so that's kind of what I'm doing here is I am pushing in the darks and then I'll be pulling out the lights. And the lights obviously are the window panes will come out a little bit. You can see I already kind of did some indications here and there. And I know I talked about the concern of the firearm in this painting, but you know what? I'm going to try it anyway, because it's my artwork. And it's a fact of life that people have firearms. This is for a fictional piece of writing. Um, so it's a creative work. When you got Hollywood that makes movies with firearms and they campaign against them and all that jazz. All right then. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do it and see what happens. Let's see here. This is a window. The window, I got this glare. See, I'm doing a lot of this. The glare is right where I'm working. Let's see if I can turn it a little. See, you're going to get the glare. This is the inside of the window. You think so's in? It probably will, and I might be just, making making it more stressful for myself just worrying about it, and maybe I just don't worry about it. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. This is an artwork, so, and I'm not going to apologize for doing this. I think this is a great uh, image for what it's representing. So I apologize if I'm leaning into the camera angle here, but I got a glare. Got a glare. There's as you may know, um, this year is the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country. And there's a lot of events going on around the country for that. And our little town is going to have its own as well. and I've been invited to participate in it as an artist vendor, but also to paint live during the event. I was asked to dress up in like old colonial clothing for it. But as I thought about it, I thought, you know what? May in Georgia, because it's going to be in May, is already going to be warm. And colonial clothing, maybe not so much. So I said I would do the painting live portion since I can do it live streaming like this. Shouldn't be too different than painting live and in person for people who are walking by, I suppose. But I don't think I would have been comfortable painting in garb. You know what I mean? Especially with paint. And I don't know if I'll do oil paint. I may not. It might be better if I did watercolor. So I don't know. Do I own any guns? If that's what you're asking me, yes, I do. I own two handguns personally, both 9mm for personal defense purposes. And I carry everywhere I go, especially nowadays as a woman. So yeah, I do carry. Um, I like Ruger. I've got a Ruger 9mm, and I have oh shoot, I forget the name of the other one that I carry. It's a smaller handgun for the express purpose of being uh, protective of myself. Because in this day and age, as a woman, no one's going to protect you except yourself in the heat of a moment. And thankfully, I've never had to worry about it. I'm in a pretty good part of Georgia when it comes to safety, but even still, we also have other firearms for home protection that I won't disclose, uh, but yeah, for my person, I carry 9mm. Do you have guns, Artisan? Yeah, we do have our carry concealed. Am I in this? I'm in the way again. I apologize that I'm in the way. That kind of defeats the purpose of the live stream stuff. All right. And these are, what I'm doing here is just painting in shape, shadow shapes, and then, like I said, I'm going to bring in I'm going to pull out lights as well. Let's see. Gotta get some more of that medium. I actually have a hair or something that's been painted on already. I don't know if I'll be able to get that off. Well, that'll be a perk for everyone says painting. A piece of hair, or I'm not sure what it is. I'm not happy about it, but now I've got down here in my reference photo some sort of container, probably an outside bin of some kind. It's non-distinct, but it's there. So I'm going to give an indication of it. With a little bit more of the Payne's gray. And at this point, because of the size brushes I'm using and the size of this canvas, I'm just painting shapes in. I'm not worrying about details just yet. Details will come as I refine this image further. Oh, you can't see that. because I've got, let me just angle that over so you can see it a little bit. But you can see just what I'm doing with, there we go. There, I got it angled down a little bit. You can see. So like I said, there's some sort of container in the source picture that is really dark. And I'm not exactly sure what it is. And frankly, it's immaterial to the image. I'm just giving an indication that it's there in this dark corner. But yeah, like over here on this side, I've got the panes of glass, but even on some of the wood, I've got even marks of light blue as highlights. So I do want to get some, when I start to do some of the detail, I do want to get different colors represented. I gotta get more yellow in that. I'm trying to do an orangey color. Yes, DNA proof for originality in the painting. Like I said, that's what someone will get if they get this painting ever. When I'm long passed on from this world, I guess. They'll say, oh, this is indeed Stephanie Stephenson's work. Oh my gosh. It was in question before, but now it is not. Trying to get some oranges, just not coming across as well as I'd hoped. That's okay, because I can come in later and make that work. I can come in later and make that work. There's still a lot of red in there, but they're also the foremost ground. So those are going to have the best detail is going to be in these figures. Let's see here. But yeah. In a minute, I'll do a palette cam movement to show you. I'll even show you. I got permission tonight to share the painting that my husband Crazy Bear started. He said I'm okay and clear to share that, and so I will be, because it's kind of in the art room here. So you will get to see that he is starting his foray into painting with oils. Yes, sir. I'm proud of him. It's daunting. Oils are not easy to start off with, you know. They're a little, they can be a little intimidating. But once you start working with them, they're not that bad. But it takes a little getting used to. So I will be sharing through Palette Cam some of the details here. In fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's do that. Let's unplug here. I'm going to make this bigger. Mobile. Let's make this bigger. All right. There we go. All right. So this is, you can see in this side of the image, I've already got a lot of the building kind of worked out. And you can see I've got like light blue and yellows that are, you know, highlighting this building. But when you step back from them, it makes sense. But when you're stepping up close, you're like, why is there light blue on the building? Uh, but it makes sense when you step away. You can see she's got sequin, but when you look at it up close, it's just light blue, white on the blue, and it's just brush strokes, but it's already got the indication of sequence. You can tell I've got a lot of development to do in the face. All this is just laying in color and brush work. It's not detail yet. So no panicking, Lisa, if you think, oh my God, this is not turning out. No panicking. You can see from standing where I'm at, the glare. That's what I've been fighting against as I've been painting. So if I step across, you can see what I've been working on there. And if you want to know what I'm doing, this is the concept image that I developed with my sister-in-law. And again, I've not done a cityscape, so every time I do a new painting, I'm doing something new. I've not done a cityscape. I've not done a twilight with the sky, you know. I'm familiar with doing figures, so I'm not worried about those. Thank you. Thank you. Now, let's show you what is going on over here. So, as you can see, that's my Amazon. She's still wet up top, in the background top. So I'm not touching her right now until she's dry. I'm going to get those vines and tree tops back in there. I painted over them because I wanted to make sure that the light source on her was definitely registering. I've worked on her a little bit too in the meantime, but there's still much to do in the top half of that composition. This is Crazy Bears painting in progress, work in progress Wednesday. My husband is more of a surrealist, if you're familiar with that art style. It takes the familiar and puts it in unrealistic ways. So what you have here is a thumb with a mouth and vegetation. And I'll let him explain his process behind that, but it's in progress. He's working on it. He's more of a graphic designer. You know, he does, you know, the graphic comic book art. And this is his first foray into oil painting. And so, congratulations, honey. You're doing great. And there's no mistakes in oil paint. You can rest assured. We'll get there. And then I started this one last night. These two are both 18 by 24 inch. And this one is based on the Psalm, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light to my path. And so there's an indistinct figure that will be holding a lamp. It's going to be a dark surroundings, like the world is dark, but you're navigating with the light of the word. So that's going to be a painting that I work on as well. So those are all these four are in my art room right now being worked on. So yeah, so you can see down here where the gun in the background behind the arm with the gun, and over here the reference is like a hazy sunlight. So I'm going to try my best to really represent that as well, because I think the light source really makes this image dynamic. So, and I've never done that kind of a sky before. It's not quite there yet, but I'll get there. But yeah. So, and one of these buildings is going to have a distinct sign, uh, a place that exists in the novel. So, but yeah, that's palette cam close-up time. Let me see if I can get it back up on my thing here. Okay, there it is. All right, so there. Let me put this back to its regular size, back to its regularly scheduled programming. Try to get this a little bigger. And put this camcorder over that. There we go. Well, that's not going to work. Let's try this again. Trying to make it big so you can see it. You can still see. Just not doing well with it tonight. I don't know why. There we go. Anyway. Yeah. Yep. That's part of the process when you start working with oils. Oils are definitely a silkier feel to them. They mix differently than acrylics. He's painted in acrylics before, my husband. I think he's more comfortable with those, and they certainly dry faster. Uh, but yeah, let's see if I can get some brights coming in here just to kind of lay them down as well. So right here, there's a brighter spot on this building. I already got that. This really needs to come forward a little bit. Get that orange to come through. And I'm holding the paintbrush just like this, not as a pencil, but as a paintbrush. I'm trying to get those brush strokes to kind of convey where this building sits. So I'm just using the brush strokes. And so this paint is wet, so it's going to blend as I bring it down and around. And that's okay. I'm not unhappy about that, because I will get this to a point where I kind of purify those colors a little bit as I develop the details. Trying to get that. All right. Doing pretty good, I think. So Frosty, are you working on anything tonight? Are you working on another painting, or what's going on with you? I'm gonna bring in some red here. You're working on the crazy guitar. Oh, okay. Okay. I know which one you're talking about. I like that one. I recognized right away that it was a guitar shape, even though it was a landscape. You're an awesome landscape painter, and probably can take some tips from you when it comes to painting landscapes. Ugh. Kind of push in some dark. So this red dress, by just using straight up crimson alizarin, I think, is it? No. I was using permanent crimson. This is what I'm working with now, is permanent crimson from Blue Ridge on this dress. So this dress here. So I'm trying to get some of these folds defined. Yeah. I get a lot of practice, Frosty, from looking at my husband's artwork. And I say that because he's great at hiding things in plain sight when it comes to his artwork. So my eye is actually kind of trained to see alternative, you know, shapes and colors and things of that nature um, when it comes to compositions. Sometimes it's not even there, but I see it anyway. So Ron's pretty good at doing Easter egg kind of images and within images, things of that nature. Let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. You can see. There we go. Yeah. You can see the dress that where I'm working it. Now I'm just putting in this permanent, like I said, it's a permanent crimson color. I'm not darkening it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just getting more chroma, a darker chroma red into it. Like I said, everything I do, I'm putting in the darks, but I'll be pulling out lights too. So, a lot of folds at this waistline. Really like this dress kind of. Again, it's. I'm going to get darker with this, obviously, because these folds get dark up close. So I wanted to at least get more of the chroma of the dress in there. And there's actually some of this kind of red in the shadow of her shoulder. So I'm going to put some of that color there, right on the edge of this shoulder. There's some red. And all this is just to kind of get some of the tonalities down and keep some of the color. Because I'm not a huge fan of making everything neutral, because skin tones aren't just neutral colors when you look at it. You can get some nice, and I know it looks kind of funky right now, but it's not the finished, it's not the details. I'm kind of placing these colors, these different half lights in. Okay. Now on the back of her, let me push this back out. There we go. You can see the blue. The back side of this is very dark blue. So I'm going to get the Payne's Gray and Prussian Blue mix here. That's what I'm doing right now, is putting some Payne's Gray and Prussian Blue. And I'm going to get that nice and dark, because that is a solid dark area. There we go. And back here is all very dark as well. And I'm going to go ahead and use the same color up on her neckline and then behind here. I'm not scared to use this dark color in the darkest shadowy areas of the two figures standing back to back here. Not afraid of the dark stuff here. Oop. There we go. So yeah, I'm working here. Because back behind here is actually a very dark shadowy area. And then as well as down here, this area is very dark as well. So yeah, I'm identifying dark and light areas, like some of the most extreme dark versus this extreme light. Right behind her arm is extremely dark. So I'm laying that in. I'm not worried about, stark lines, things like that. I'm just trying to get these laid in. They'll get defined a little bit better as the painting progresses. And up here, can't see that. Right here. And all I'm doing is I'm using the side of the brush and I'm scumbling down the edge here. That's all I'm doing. I'm scumbling. That's actually a term, I believe, that they use to describe a way of painting with a paintbrush. So yeah, I'm just laying in, and it looks very stark and very dark and like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? But it's okay. And one thing I've learned in this whole process of picking up painting again is it's okay. Nothing can't be fixed if you don't panic, that is. So all I'm doing is just kind of revealing where some of these folds of this leather skirt are, where some of the darkest shadows are. This whole back side of this skirt here is also dark. I'm going to add some of the red to this Prussian blue. This is a very dark, shadowy area of her skirt, portion of her dress. Down here is her hand. It's got dark areas as well. Skirt. So yeah, I'm just making sure things are placed in the right spot. And I'm not worried about this looking undeveloped because it's under development. So, but it's also going to bring them forward as I do it. Again, I'm not using the super detailed brushes. I'm using bigger brushes at the moment. I'm adding some of this Prussian blue to this crimson red. And I'm going to just get some of this darker color in there. That's all it is. And you can see as from the camera, I'm looking at the camera, you can see it's starting to take shape, and it's just these broad paint strokes that are making this come alive a little bit. Like down here, very dark fold. This is also dark areas here. There we go. So yeah, that's all I'm doing is kind of pushing in these darks. And then I'll be pushing out lights as I'm going. There is this is like a fold that kind of comes down from that. So yeah, I'm just bringing in some of these details slowly but surely. And with this being wet, this will be blendable with some more of the deeper reds. So yeah, I'm not worried about this. Not worried about it at all. Under here is a dark area. I'm going to use the purple and blue, the color I've been using. To bring in a I'm getting a little bit detailed here and I shouldn't, so I'm not going to worry about that. This is also hair is dark. brown. So yeah, that's all I'm doing is just kind of getting some of these colors in. And when this is drier, I can bring out some of the lights, pull those out. Add some more fast drying medium. When it feels like it's getting dry, this is dark. Yeah, not bad. So this arm's coming forward just with that dark shadow. This is bringing them forward a little bit, so is this. So automatically these are starting to pull forward just with these paint strokes. Yeah, I'm using, let me just bring this down closer. So this is permanent crimson here, and I had Payne's gray here. I also have Prussian blue, and I mixed Prussian blue with my permanent red crimson to get this really dark purple area. So yeah. So yeah, so the Prussian blue and Payne's gray, I did these darker areas here, the darkest shadowy areas. And then I took the Prussian blue and the crimson red, and I'm coming in the darker areas of the stress and the like. So, and up here in the skin tones, where the jawline is being defined on both of them. So yeah. And again, I'm not using a super detail brush. This is still, this is a, I don't know if the number is, yeah, the number's worn off, but you can see size. It's not neat in comparison. A detailed filbert is probably more this size. So I'm not in a detailed section yet. So yeah, I use Payne's gray to darken things up. So, but I'm trying to keep the tone and the warmth of the color red. But some of these darkest darks really need to come forward. So I'm going to use some more Payne's gray to pull those a little bit more forward. Payne's gray, Prussian blue. I really like that color combination for a dark. So Payne's gray, Prussian blue, right here. And this, I'm going to add some of the red I used at the beginning to bring in some of that red tone in, maybe in some of this purple. And this is very dark and it's hard to see in the palette cam, but you get some of this fast drying medium. So some of these areas are really dark. Here, right there, under this windowsill. Let's see here. Inside this window. Again, I've got glare here, so it's hard to see. And I'm just getting these placed This is really dark too, so I'm in now with a little that same Payne's gray and Prussian blue. Really darken this up. Let me pull this back so you can see. There we go. There we go. So I was working up in here. Like I said, I got a glare on this. So it's a little difficult to see. This has a windowsill, or a sash rather. This is really dark right here. This is dark. These areas are really in shaded, dark, shadowy areas. So I want to make sure that I register these super dark areas with representational color. Yeah, this definitely does. Payne's gray is great for that, a great shadow. But it's also cool, so if you're not careful, you can cool down your warms, so you have to mix it carefully. But shadowy areas are by nature considered cool, but in this warm, this warm composition, it's got a delicate balance. I got a strike here. And then again, this is a really dark corner of the canvas. This whole corner is actually I'm using too small of a brush at this point. I really should come back in with a bigger brush and get this corner just painted in dark, because it really is just a shadowy area, a container of some kind, nondescript, not material to the message of the image that you'll understand only after reading the book. All right, so I've got some darker areas. I can tell that this is, because of the glare, I'm not getting the right angle. Not getting the right angle. This should be up here. This should be in darker. So yeah, it's coming along. I'll have to do a before and after like I always do after a live stream, where I say before tonight and after tonight to show the difference, because sometimes it's hard to tell until you look at the differences. This is getting nondescript, which I didn't intend for that to happen, but it's okay. All right. I think I'll start working on making those faces distinct this week as well, getting them mapped in, the shadow areas as well. I'll do one more run of palette cam around close. Let's see, mobile. So as you see where I'm standing, where I've been painting, this whole area is blared because of my light. But you can see how just pushing in those darks have made that dress be a little bit more substantial in terms of its, you know, um, shape. And just this, putting in the darks, really have brought these two forward just in those. And again, uh, these will get more nuanced and defined with thicker paint as I develop with smaller paint brushes. And then I did back here dark, and when it's tacky or dry, I'm going to touch up where there's some sequin action there, you can see. But yeah, so the faces are nondescript. I gotta get those mapped, and you can see what they're gonna turn out to be. My version of that will be very similar, but not exactly the same. So you can see this was the quinacridone magenta background I used. So it's come a long way actually, but you can see some of that still peeking out from behind. But I do feel like I'm successfully getting the light source from behind. Yeah, yeah, the darks do make a difference. So let me just see if I can push this back a little bit. There we go. So I step back. But you can just see with the darks coming in on the figure's clothing, how it just brings them forward. And the buildings on the right are more distinct now. I mean, I still got details to bring in, but it's definitely coming along. When you step back, you can see how that makes a difference. But then as you get closer, you can see the paintbrush work, very scumbly, messy looking, but that's okay. Like I said, that'll get refined as things happen. Like this shoulder is way too bright right now, but I'm preserving that. I did this actually in a turquoise blue white because I had that left over of my last palette, and I'm like, I want to make sure I keep that as a bright spot. So I do that. And I also use that same color in these bright spots on the building here and in the window panes. You see that. And so when you step back, you see that. And of course the sequins. So you want the color, but you also want to represent. And that's the whole idea of the art, you know. And then of course, here's my Amazon. She's coming along. Like I said, I'm going to be repainting the top of the trees here once this is dry. I really wanted to make sure that the top was the brightest source behind. I did start working on her a little bit more, her skin tones and stuff, but I'm also going to work on her outfit and get that more detailed. But you can see the foreground and the midground are definitely foliaged, and now it's just the background and the treetops, and then I need to refine her, and then she's going to be done. So, and then of course my new one, my new painting, and Ron's painting, works in progress, all around, all around. And then of course, if you wanted to see my messy art studio, there's that. Our library is really my art studio. I got another canvas. I haven't touched that in a while. That's a mixed media collage start. It's like an 8x8 canvas, and it's actually got collage papers on it. And it started off in acrylic, but I've set it aside because I don't know how I want to develop it. So I'm working on that one too. My messy corner, my color swatches of oil. So this is, if you're looking at the Blue Ridge oil paints, this is the color swatch of the paints that I got. Some of them are matte. So if you're not used to working in matte, just remember that if you don't like matte, you might have to mix it with something more glossy. Um, but yeah, so that's the color swatches of the Blue Ridge oil paints, Frosty, if you're interested. And then my Master's Touch, which is obviously the Hobby Lobby brand. And then I've got Winsor Newton. Those are my Winsor Newton colors. So I have those as reference. But yeah, anyway, that's it. I think I'm going to wrap up tonight's live stream with this little swirl about of the palette cam. But yep, coming forward. So I thought that showing that progress of what those brush strokes do. It's scary to put such a dark color down, but when you step back from it, you realize that it's actually making a big difference than, you know, just those, so I've learned in this whole process that there's no mistake that can't be overcome, and that pushing in darks and pulling out lights is part of the process. But you can tell just by doing those darks that were very scary to do, hold them forward like big time. And developing the building is helpful too. So yeah, well, gloss gets glossy, it gets shiny. But I do a lot of my photography artisan of my artwork out on my back porch in indirect sunlight. Not direct sunlight, but indirect sunlight. So on a sunny day, um, uh, high noon or closer to the afternoon when it starts to set but is not close to the horizon, I'll set it on my back porch. I probably take about 50 pictures of one artwork in the hopes that I got a good one or whatever. And then I have Ron take a look at them on Photoshop to make sure that, they don't need some sort of tweaking to bring to life, to the reality of my painting, what the camera didn't take, so I can then upload those high quality images for printmaking and such. But it's possible to photograph, but you have to do it in indirect sunlight, um, and take a ton of photos, most of which you throw away. And you get, if you're lucky, you get a few. Um, and so that's how I do it. Um, and I'm looking forward to doing that with the with with my Amazon. Uh, so because I'm really excited about the Amazon, and I really want to get some nice quality pictures of her, so that way I can get some decent prints made. But yeah, so this is coming along, Lisa. It's coming along. It'll come, and when it's done, I'll take pictures of it like I was talking about, and I may have to have Ron extend this, this sky so you can put your title block up, because yeah, I probably should have planned better, but I really wanted to do this big. I'd like to work big. I should have maybe done it on the 24 by 36, but that would have been a narrower. I really think this was just better in a square format. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Uh, but yeah. Anyway, let me pull my chair up. So yeah, I'm excited that Ron is doing his oil painting. Let me do full. There, there I am. Okay. See, the light works better now for some reason. Go figure. Um, but yeah, I'm excited that Ron's trying his hand at oil painting. And he may end up liking it, he may not, and that's okay, but at least he's trying. And he gets big kudos for that, honey. Big kudos, because a lot of people are scared. Even artists are scared of oil painting, if they and they've never done it before. Some people never try. And the fact that you did, I'm just very proud of you. um, well, you made big progress the other night when you started to define the greens of the green thumb. So I think that's fantastic. Coming from your background, it's a total different beast altogether. So you should really feel proud of yourself, you know. Um, and you don't know if you don't try. That's right, Happy Feet. Yeah. But so yeah, I'll be working on this week in the Amazon as well. And whenever a painting is drying and I need to wait for it to dry, I'll just work on another one. Um, and hopefully I can get the Amazon done this week. I'm going to focus on getting her done quickly this week so I can then get photographs and maybe use her as a submission for some of these events that I talked about at the beginning. Uh, the Dahlonega Arts and Wine Festival, the Blue Ridge Arts in the Park, both both of those are in May. Um, Also, the Shane Gallery Invitational. The Shane Gallery's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, and that's a roughly 4 hour drive, 4.5, maybe 5. 4 to 5 hour drive from where I'm at. But I have a friend that lives in Charlotte. So if I happen to get into that one, into that gallery for their little invitational show, um, I'll have a place to stay for their opening night. And then Artist Network Online has an online thing. So, like I said, I got a lot of things on the cooking in the kitchen, so to speak. I got to map it out on the calendar and hopefully not have too much overlap. I still plan on doing the Harris Arts Center in Calhoun this spring, and then the Creative Arts Guild Arts Fest in the fall. I've done those for the past 3 years. I'm going to continue to do them because they're my local art scene, and I want to stay. I want to stay in my local art scene as well as online circles, hopefully. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you all joining me tonight in chat and contributing to the conversation. Um, there's a lot going on, and I appreciate the support you lend me and the encouragement. And you're just a fantastic group of people, and I cannot be more blessed to call you guys friends and family. Um, and so yeah, it. We'll see how this turns out. I'm going to do a good job, I promise. Happy Feet, Lisa Stephenson, author of Resilient. That will be the novel behind this image. And we're going to be collabing on it as I progress on this. Um, and when she's got a link for her novel, I'll be sure to share that out along with the artwork because that's what we do for each other. But anyway, you guys have a good Wednesday night, a good rest of the week into this coming weekend. And don't forget to unplug and rest, take some time, get started, Artisan, on something new. Uh, you're up to bat, buddy. And Nick, thanks for checking in the chat early on. I hope you got some drawing done. Send me a picture of what you drew. I won't share it unless you give me permission to. It's your drawing, not mine, but I'd love to see what you did during this time. So have a good night. Thanks. Do all the things, all the algorithmic things, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. And I appreciate it because every little bit helps. I'm up to 81 followers on Rumble. If I get to 100 followers, I can be part of the Rumble Creator Program, whatever that means. I think it means some sort of monetization. I don't know. We'll see. But it'd be nice to get there. And we'll go from there. So share it out, everybody. And have a good night. And